Shabbat Shalom. Hine Matov Umanayim. How good and how pleasant and wonderful it is for us to be together this evening.
שבת אחים גם יחד, הנה מה טוב. ומה נעים, שבת אחים גם יחד, שבת אחים גם יחד, הנה מה טוב. ומה נעים, שבת אחים גם יחד. הנה מה טוב ומה נעים, שבת אחים, שבת אחים, שבת אחים גם יחד. הנה מה טוב ומה נעים, שבת אחים, שבת אחים, שבת אחים גם יחד. הנה מה טוב ומה נעים, שבת אחים, שבת אחים גם יחד. הנה מה טוב, הנה מה טוב, שבת אחים גם יחד. הנה מה טוב ומה נעים, שבת אחים, שבת אחים, שבת אחים גם יחד. הנה מה טוב ומה נעים, שבת אחים, שבת אחים, שבת אחים גם יחד. הנה מה טוב ומה נעים, שבת אחים, שבת אחים גם יחד. הנה מה טוב, הנה מה טוב, שבת אחים גם יחד.
Shabbat Shalom. If you didn't figure it out, it is Disney Shabbat. But as we move into our Shabbat, first we acknowledge that it is also Shabbat Zachor. Shabbat Zachor is the Shabbat of remembering, the Shabbat of memory. It is the Shabbat that is immediately preceding the festival, the holiday of Purim. Why do we remember and what do we remember? We add to our weekly Torah reading, the reading that comes from chapter 25 of Deuteronomy, in which we hear the story of Amalek. Amalek, who attacked the Israelites from behind, seemingly attacking the weakest part of Israel when they initially left Egypt. And God says we are supposed to blot out Amalek. So we are called to remember, we are called to blot out. And what we're called to think about are those evil people in the world who seek to overcome the weak. And so we remember specifically before Purim because Haman, hence we're blotting his name out, because Haman, thank you, as the book of Esther suggests, or tells us, it doesn't suggest, it tells us, he is a descendant of Amalek. And so we remember in order that our eyes are always open, that we are always looking for those Amaleks in the world, and that we are doing what we can to overcome them, to blot them out. And at the same time, we turn inward and we make sure that we ourselves are not exhibiting that Amalek-like behavior, that we too are there to build the bridges instead of to tear things down. Certainly tonight, as we look at our world, as we look miles across the world, we have an Amalek in our world, and we think about that. And it is hard to think about being joyous when there is war going on in our world, but we in fact are told that we are supposed to celebrate Shabbat with joy. Even those who are mourning when it is Shabbat are supposed to get up and supposed to observe Shabbat with joy. And so even while there is sadness in our world, tonight we celebrate this Shabbat before Purim with a little bit of joy and a little bit of Disney. And so we welcome in Shabbat as we light our Shabbat candles. If you are at home joining us, I invite you to pull out your candles in your Kiddush cup as we join together. As these Shabbat candles give light to all who behold them, so may we, by our lives, give light to all who behold us. As their brightness reminds us of the generations of Israel who have kindled light, so may we in our own day be among those who kindle light. As we kindle the lights of Shabbat, and we welcome in their light and their warmth and the brightness as we join together, Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kidshanu b'mitzvotav, v'tzivanu lahadlik ner shel Shabbat.
Amen. And if you can, please stand. And those of you in watching at home or wherever you are, may stand as well. On page 123, if you are following in our prayer books, in our Siddur, you will see the Kiddush. We refer to as Kiddushat Hayom, the sanctification of this day. And wine is our symbol of joy and our commitment through God to the Sabbath. We sing together. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, borei Peri HaKafen. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kidshanu b'mitzvotav v'ratzavanu v'shabbat kodesho be'ahava v'ratzon hinechilanu zikaron lema'aseh v'reshit. כי הוא יום תחירו למקרוא קודש, זכר לציון מצרים. קיוונו אותו ואותנו קידשת מכל Shabbat Kodesh be'ahava u'veratzon hinechaltanu. Baruch atah Adonai mekadesh haShabbat. And we say together, Shabbat Shalom and L'chaim. Please be seated. We welcome in Shabbat as if Shabbat were a bride, with the words of Lecha Dodi.
Lechado di likrat kala. Whoa. Penny Shabbat bat nekabela. Whoa. Lechado di likrat kala. Penny Shabbat nekabela. Lechado di likrat kala. Penny Shabbat nekabela. Shemor v'zachor b'dibur echad yishmiyanu el hameichad Adonai echad v'shemo echad v'shemu teferet vel tehila Shemor v'zachor b'dibur echad yishmiyanu el hameichad Adonai echad v'shemo echad v'shemu teferet vel tehila Lechado di likrat kala Whoa Penny Shabbat bat nekabela Whoa, lechado di likrat kala, penei Shabbat nekabela. Lechado di likrat kala, penei Shabbat nekabela. Likrat Shabbat lechuvonecha ki hi makor habracha. Merosh mikedem nisucha sof maaseh b'machshavatika. Likrat Shabbat lechuvonecha ki hi makor habracha. Merosh mikedem nisucha sof maaseh b'machshavatika. Oli lishalom ateret bala gam b'simcha u'b'tzora toch emunei am segula boi chala boi chala boi chala boi chala boi chala lechado di likrat kala Whoa Penei Shabbat bat nekabela Whoa lechado di likrat kala Penei Shabbat nekabela Lechado di likrat kala Penei Shabbat nekabela Lechado di likrat kala Whoa Penei Shabbat bat nekabela Whoa Lechado di likrat kala Penei Shabbat nekabela Lechado di likrat kala Penei Shabbat nekabela
Celia's like, yeah, I did it.
And we remain standing for Baruch Hu, and the goal throughout the service is to figure out which movie you think the prayer came to. I can see from the younger people you recognize that Lechado Di. If you have not yet seen Encanto, that is what that was from.
But also to connect with our congregants who are not familiar with all of the repertoire of Disney, we are also going to put in some of our frequently arranged musical attachments to our liturgy, such as this Baruch Hu, Call to Worship, which you find on page 146. Baruch Hu et Adonai HaMevorach Baruch Adonai HaMevorach HaMevorach Me'olam va'ed HaMevorach HaMevorach Me'olam va'ed. And now we continue on page 152. We remain standing at this time. Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai, Adonai Echad. Baruch Shem Kevod, Shem Kevod, Malechuto Leolam, Leolam Va'ed. Please be seated. And you shall love the Lord your God with all your might, with all your soul, and with all your might. And these words which I command you on this day shall be in your heart, shall be in your heart. You shall diligently unto your children, and you shall speak of them when you're sitting in your house, when you're walking by the way, and when you're lying down, and when you're rise up, and when you rise up. And you shall bind them for a sign upon your hand, and they shall be for frontlets between your eyes. You shall write them on the doorpost of your house, and upon your gates, and upon your gates, that you will remember and do all of my commandments, and be holy unto your God, unto your God, unto your God. On page 158, if the Israelites had a song in their minds when they came to the Reed Sea, and if Moses was a crustacean, he probably would lighten the mood a little bit, considering that Pharaoh and the armies were coming to get them, along with Ursula. And he would probably sing something like this. מי כמוך באלים אדוני, מי כמוך נעדר בקודש, מי כמוך באלים אדוני, מי כמוך נעדר בקודש, נורא תהילות, עושה פלא, נורא תהילות, עושה פלא, מי כמוך, מי כמוך, מי כמוך באלים אדוני, נורא תהילות, עושה פלא, נורא תהילות, עושה פלא, מי כמוך. מלכותך ראו פניך, בוקע ים לפני משה. מלכותך ראו פניך, בוקע ים לפני משה. זה אלי, אנו ואמרו, זה אלי, אנו ואמרו, מי כמוך, מי כמוך, kamocha ba'elim Adonai. No ora tehilot ose fele. Nora tehilot ose fele mi kamocha. Nora tehilot ose fele mi kamocha. Nora tehilot ose fele mi kamocha. And, we only applaud for God here. Okay, now, on page 162, after the Israelites crossed the Reed Sea and Sebastian went through his first molting period, we searched for some peace, some solitude, and we were given the gift of Shabbat, a beautiful gift, an opportunity for us to come together and to commune, not just with all the souls of the living and the spirits, as they say, of all flesh, but also with our generations. And this arrangement of Vishamru by Elizabeth Blyer, I think she captures what I believe is the spirit of the Shabbat at this time, and allows us to just take a little bit of a rest, a little bit of repose, and just think a little bit about God, nature, and our place in it.
V'shameru b'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat lasot et ha-Shabbat לדורותם לברית עולם ביני ובין ישראל אותי לעולם כי ששת ימים עשה את השמיים ואת הארץ וביום השכבי שבת שבת ויהי נפש וביום השבי שבת שבת ויהי נפש שבת ויהי נפש ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם ביני ובין ישראל אותי לעולם כי ששת ימים עשה את השמיים ואת הארץ וביום השבי שבת שבת ויהי נפש וביום השבי שבת שבת ויהי נפש שבת ויהי נפש שבת ויהי נפש שבת ויהי נפש.
And we hold that beautiful, thank you, Elizabeth, melody in our hearts and our souls as we turn now in our prayer books to the Amidah. We turn to page 164 as we rise.
Adonai sifatai tiftach ufi agite ilatecha. Adonai, open up my lips that my mouth may declare your praise. Page 166. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu ve'Elohei avotenu ve'imotenu, Elohei Avraham, Elohei Yitzchak, ve'Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, ve'Elohei Leah, Ha'el Hagadol, Hagibor ve'Hanora, El Elyon, Gomel Chasadim Tovim, ve'Konei Hakol, ve'Zocher Chasdei Avot ve'Imahot, u'mevi ge'ula livnei v'neihem, lema'an shemo be'ahava, Melech Hozer Moshiach u'Magen, Baruch atah Adonai, Magen Avraham, V'ezrat Sarah, page 168. Atah gibor le'olam Adonai, Mechayeh hakol atarav lehoshia, Mashiv haruach u'morid hagashem, Mechalkel chayim bechesed, Mechayeh hakol berachamim rabim, Somech nofrim verofech horim, Umatir asurim, Umekayem emunato rishenei afar. Micha mocha ba'al gevurot, Umido meroch, Melech memit u'mechayeh u'matzmiach Yeshua, v'ne'eman atah le'achayot hakol, Baruch atah Adonai mechayeh hakol. Page 170. Atah kadosh v'shimcha kadosh u'kadoshim b'chol yom yahalelu chasela, Baruch atah Adonai Ha'el HaKadosh.
You may be seated. And we turn to page 177. And we take a moment as we celebrate Shabbat, as we enjoy the tunes and our prayers sung to familiar tunes. We take a moment and think about gratitude. Those things in our lives, things perhaps that happened this week for which we are grateful, for which we are thankful. And I want you to find one moment and hold on to it in your mind. God of goodness, we give thanks for the gift of life, wonder beyond words, for the awareness of soul, our light within, for the world around us so filled with beauty, for the richness of the earth which day by day sustains us. For all these and more, we offer thanks. Baruch atah Adonai, hatov shimcha ulecha na'eh lehodot. And in just a little while, we will have a prayer for peace. But we turn our hearts and our thoughts toward Ukraine, toward the people in Ukraine, and we offer a prayer written by our artist and liturgist in residence, Alden Salavi, called Hero of Ukraine. Defenders of Ukraine, you each will be called hero. Posthumous honor for those who have died in a war that has never ended, spanning centuries of Russian invasions and occupations. How much blood and war has the Dnieper seen as the majestic river flows from Kyiv to the Black Sea? Evil folk and wicked men attack our Ukraine once so free. God of all, protector and redeemer, watch over the people of the Ukraine as their land is invaded once again and war returns to the land. Grant them safety and security, independence, freedom, and peace. Watch over the soldiers forced into combat to defend the nation and to protect their land and their homes. God of peace, bring a speedy end to this conflict and full restoration of the sovereignty to Ukraine. Bring an end to all war, conflict, and strife, so that your promise of peace is fulfilled. Amen. And now we turn our hearts, our thoughts, and prayers toward those who are in need of healing. Some of us are thinking of those close to our hearts, our friends, our loved ones. And so at this time, if you are thinking of someone who is in need, whether you are in our sanctuary or at home, I ask that you stand at this time and share those names aloud, call those names aloud, sending them into the universe. We take all of those names into our hearts, and we think of all of those around the world who are in need of healing. And may God swiftly send them a complete renewal of body and spirit as we now join together in Mishaberach, our prayer for healing.
Mishaberach Avoteinu Mekor Haberacha Ve'imotenu. May the source of strength who blessed the ones before us help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say Amen. Mishaberach imotenu mekor haberacha ve'avotenu. Bless those in need of healing with the refuah shlema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say Amen.
And we take a moment for silent and personal prayer.
Shalom Rav, Shalom Rav al Yisrael, Shalom Rav al Yisrael, Amcha Tasim, Shalom Rav al Amcha Tasim Le'olam, Shalom Rav, Shalom Rav al Yisrael, Shalom Rav al Yisrael, Amcha Tasim, Shalom Rav al Amcha Tasim Le'olam. Shalom Rav al Yisrael, Amcha Tasim Le'olam. Whoa, whoa, Shalom Al Yisrael Amcha Tasim Le'olam. Shalom Rav, Shalom Rava Yisrael, Shalom Rava Yisrael, Amcha Tasihi. Shalom Rava Lamcha Tasim Le'olam. Shalom Rav, Shalom Rav al Yisrael, Shalom Rav al Yisrael, Amcha Tasim. Shalom Rav Lamcha Tasim Le'olam. Everyone, shalala and shalalalalalalalom Rav al Yisrael, Amcha Tasim Le'olam. Oy vey, shalalala. That was weak again. Shalalala. Yisraelam Tasim Le'olam. Oh, sha. Yisraelam Tasim Le'olam. Shalom Rav, Shalom Rav al Yisrael. Tasim le'olam.
Shabbat Shalom, everyone. My name is Carolyn Satz, and I'm representing the Board of Directors tonight with a few announcements. Tomorrow, Torah study begins at 9 a.m. in the chapel or via Zoom. Musar class will be at 12:30 p.m. virtually. Shabbat morning service at 10:30 a.m. via live stream. And at 6 p.m., we usher out Shabbat with Next Week Now via live stream. Some upcoming events of interest: United Hebrew and the St. Louis Jewish Book Festival present an afternoon with Alden Solovoy on Sunday, March 13th at 3 p.m. in person or via live stream. Wednesday, March 16th is our Purim Carnival at 5 p.m., followed by the Spiel and Megillah reading at 6:30 p.m. March 31 through April 2nd, United Hebrew is also excited to welcome artists in residence Dan Nichols and Alan Goodis. Join us in celebrating Rabbi Rosenberg's 10 years as senior rabbi and Rabbi Kaplansky's 50 years in the rabbinate on Saturday, April 2nd from 6:30 to 10:30 p.m. at Meadowbrook Country Club. For additional information, just visit our website for upcoming classes and programs. Thank you to our tech team for making it possible for people to be here live streaming. And the gift shop is open on Saturdays when religious school is in session from 9 a.m. to 12 p.m. and by appointment.
So a couple of things that we're not on, and religious schools on Sundays. And you read Sunday as Saturday, so I'm just correcting. It's okay as Sunday, just in case people thought we made a change to Saturday, which would be really lovely, but we did not. Oh, that's right. Daylight savings is this week. Oh, yeah. Tomorrow, if you would like the opportunity to help and volunteer from 12:30 to 4:30 tomorrow afternoon, we will be packing the Shalach Manot boxes for the congregation. So if you have an hour or two or even a half hour, please join us from 12:30 to 4:30 to pack Shalach Manot boxes. Or if you have time at all this week between Sunday and Wednesday and you'd like to help deliver those boxes to our congregation, it is as simple as coming here, picking up a list, and you will just drop them in mailboxes or on porches. We would love any help from anybody, so thank you. We now turn in our prayer books to page 586 as we rise for Aleinu.
עלינו לשבח לאדון הכל, לתת גדולה ליוצר בראשית, שלא עשנו כגויי הארצות, ולא שמנו כמשפחות האדמה, שלא שם חלקנו כהם, וגורלנו ככל המונם, ואנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים הקדוש ברוך הוא. Page 591. ונאמר והיה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ, ביום ההוא יהיה אדוני אחד, ושמו
And we continue in our prayer books on page 592. When I die, give what's left of me away to children and old men that wait to die. And if you need to cry, cry for your brother walking the street beside you. And when you need me, put your arms around anyone and give them what you need to give me. I want to leave you something better than words or sounds. Look for me in the people I've known or loved, and if you cannot give me away, at least let me live in your eyes and not in your mind. You can love me best by letting hands touch hands and by letting go of children that need to be free. Love doesn't die, people do. So when all that's left of me is love, give me away. This Shabbat, the heartfelt condolences of our congregation go out to the families of Elizabeth Couples and Ethel Gentle. We are in the period of Shloshim for Richard Baer, Ronald Ron Blumenfeld, Iris Buffin, Sharon Nagorner Ingman, Diane E. Ezel, Jacqueline Jackie Mayer, Sandra R. Sanders, David Charles Silverman. This week, the Shabbat, we observe the Yartzites and lovingly remember Claude Allen Abrams, Morris B. Avram, Millie S. Behrman, Harry Block, Tilly Claris, Tilly Cohen, Fanny Siegel Cohen, Lenore Dickman Cohn, John David Deichman, Leona Dreyfus, Sidney Duhov, Janet Bierman Elman, Jenny Esserman, Manuel Esserman, Edna Feldman, Herman H. Frank, Rebecca Frank, Ruth Freeberger, Pauline Garfinkel, Sadie German, Marjorie B. Goldenberg, Gilbert Goldman, William I. Gordon, Jerome Samuel Gottlieb, Robert Grossberg, Sam Grossman, William Hafner, Victoria H. Jablon, Sadie Lee Kaplan, Frank Kenner, Max L. Kessler, Della C. Kligman, Mildred Lakow, Miriam Lebedin, Riva Lepowich, Henry R. Lerner, Marcia Lerner, Cyril Levy, Samuel Ludwig, Dave Madden, Harry Margulis, Philip Marion, Michael M. Mathis, Jenny May Messing, Wilma Engel Messing, Gittel Moore, George Neufeld, Ann Oglander, Harry Peters, Tilly C. Rodenberg, Mary Newman Rosen, Fanny Rosenkrantz, Becky Rosenstock, Jacob Rubin, Saul L. Rubin, Leo Samuelson, Helen Sanofsky, Albert Schenberg, Rebecca Schenberg, Stanley Schneider, David J. Schwartz, Fanny S. Seltzer, Jacob Simon, Agnes O. Barish Simon, Gertrude M. Sinkoff, Minnie Stahl, Marcia Claire Tischler, David Washauer, Martin H. Wild III, Annette Weinberg, Hannah Passon White, Sam D. Wolf, Ronald F. Wolf, Joyce Steller Yalem, Louis A. Zerman. Zichronam livracha, may each of their memories be for blessing, as we now turn to page 598 and we rise for the recitation of the Mourner's Kaddish. Yit Gadal ve'yit Kadash Shemei Rabbah, Bi'alma divra chirute v'amlich malchute, B'chayechon uvyomechon, Uv'chaye dechol Beit Yisrael, Ba'agala uvizman kariv v'imru Amen. Yehe Shemei Rabba Mivorach Leolam Olmei Almaya. Yit Barach Ve'yishtabach Ve'yit Pa'ar Ve'yit Romam Ve'yit Naseh. Ve'yit Hadar Ve'yit Aleh Ve'yit Halal Shemei Dekudashar Barechu. Le'ela Min Kol Birchata V'shirata. Tushbachata V'nechemata. Damiram Be'alma V'imru Amen. Yehe Shlama Rabba Min Shemaya, V'chayim Aleinu Ve'al Kol Yisrael, Ve'imru Amen. Oseh Shalom Bimromav, Hu Ya'aseh Shalom, Aleinu Ve'al Kol Yisrael, Ve'imru Amen. And on this Shabbat, not only do we read from the book of Deuteronomy for Shabbat Zachor, but so too do we begin the book of Leviticus. And the book of Leviticus is all about how we connect with God. Yes, it talks a lot about the korbanot, the sacrifices, but the root word of korban is karov, which means to draw close. And so once upon a time, sacrifice was the way that our ancestors drew close to God. And when the temple was destroyed, it became prayer. Sacrifice, on the one hand, was very specific and had to be done in a certain way. And yet prayer is something that is open to interpretation. We can connect with God in any way that we, in our hearts, connect with God. It can be in Hebrew, it can be in English, it can be through song, it can be through a melody that we play on an instrument, in whatever way. And while I don't have the poem with me, one of Alden's poems popped into my head. It's called Sacred Silliness. And when it comes to Purim reminds us we don't have to take ourselves so seriously. That yes, even when there are tragic, serious things in the world, what is it that has gotten our people through so often? It is sacred silliness. It is the ability to not take ourselves too seriously and to recognize that sometimes we have to approach God with a little bit of silliness. And so I hope that on this Shabbat, as you take time to rest, as you take time to rejuvenate and to relax, that you also take the time for a little bit of silliness, perhaps a little bit of Disney, as we end with a prayer for peace.
May the one who bless our people bless all Israel with peace. Oseh Shalom B'Romav, Hu Ya'aseh Shalom Aleinu, V'al Kol Yisrael, V'imru Amen. On behalf of my dear colleagues, Rabbi Rosenberg, Rabbi Bellows, David Cohen, we thank Lisa Rosenstock for kicking us off, for Celia for helping us bring in the Shabbat, and of course for Elizabeth, who has given us some wonderful opportunities for rest and refreshment, and two of our three Brimer sisters, who helped us bring just a little bit of silly peace into this space. And we sing now, Oseh Shalom. Oseh Shalom Bimromav, Hu Ya'aseh Shalom. Aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'imru Amen. Oseh Shalom b'mromav, Hu Ya'aseh Shalom. ועל כל ישראל, ואמרו אמן.
Shabbat Shalom.